Next up in myofascial massage is skin rolling. It's very similar to skin lifting, except you're adding motion. So you lift the skin and you crawl with your fingers along the skin while the thumbs gently push from behind. This creates a wave in the tissue across the surface of the back. You can do this in other areas of the body. You want to perform this in multiple directions in the same area in order to get the most out of it. Make sure to walk with your fingers and not with your thumbs. You want to keep your thumbs just kind of stable and stacked behind the skin. Remember, from skin lifting, we aren't pinching, we are gently but firmly lifting and moving the tissues. Sometimes you may have to stop in the middle of your roll to readjust because there's too tight of tissues or fascia in one area. Or you may have to stop to add a little bit of circular friction or just adjust the direction you're coming from because you can feel where there's a different fascial pull. Just work with as much as skin as this body will allow you to. If the tissues are really tight, you're just going to want to start with skin lifting versus going straight into skin rolling. Once again, I'll remind you guys to be gentle when you're in the low back. The fascia tends to be tighter here just naturally, and some people have a higher sensitivity when it comes to tight fascia. This client had a particularly tight low back, and so I spent a little bit more time in this area, just allowing it to release. He mentioned that it felt good the closer I got to the sacrum, but always be mindful of the draping no matter what your client asks for. One area this can be very sensitive is over the ribs, so be mindful of that as well. Just continue this treatment across the whole back. Be very gentle over the shoulder blades because they can be tighter and more sensitive because of the bony landmarks. You'll occasionally see me reassess the tissues just by doing a general skin lifting. Don't be afraid to mix that in. You'll see that in this area that the skin isn't moving as easily as it did before. That's just tighter fascial lines, tighter tissues. It'll take longer for this to release. You may notice that the client twitches a little bit. That's because he has a little bit of nerve damage, and unlocking the fascia is actually unlocking nerves that have been buried in scar tissue and tight fascia. So it's causing a twitch release in his body. Just always make sure to talk your clients through these moments because they may be unsure of what's happening. Everybody releases in different ways, so just instruct them to the best of your ability. You can actually see that it's much easier to actually roll the skin coming from the low back now than it was at the beginning of the treatment. Always just keep your client in mind and do what they need